I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Thursday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday. It is Friday Junior, folks. Welcome, everybody. Derry Bennett, welcome. Craftus, welcome. Moanet from the YouTube crew. Michael Hassler, Sock Now, welcome. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Folks, let's get started. Don't forget, in a couple of weeks, in March, I will be down in Florida, so the streams there will be probably sparse. That will be March 17th is when that week starts. So just be aware. I'll make another announcement as things get closer, but just be aware. All right, folks, let's get started. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you guys being here. If you want to support the channel, keep doing what you're doing. Keep liking the stream if you're on the YouTube side. Excuse me. Keep subscribing, folks. Keep subscribing. It really does help us out. We are at 266 subscribers, so thank you so much for that. Also, join the Discord, folks, if you want to keep up with the channel. It's the best way to do so. This Saturday, or rather last Saturday, was supposed to be the last Saturday of the month. I realize now that it was cut a bit short, February, being February. So this Saturday instead, join the Discord if you want to watch a movie with us. I'm not quite sure which one we will put on, but you are more than welcome to hang out and watch whatever movie we end up picking. We usually make a couple of announcements before the movie starts, so feel free to join if you want. And just the brief disclosures always. If you want to support the channel, keep liking the stream, subscribe, do the awesome stuff. Follow us here on Twitch, and check out the merch store and hitting the exclamation mark tip if you want to support the channel directly. Subscribe to the Substack. That's completely free. Thank you all. I appreciate your support. Let's get started, folks. All right. Thank you to Brad as a name for the offline follow. Thank you.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a direct.
Oh, yeah. You know, just casually sitting at her desk. The Jeffrey Epstein files. Okay.
By President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay.
Okay. Espero que esté bien. Estoy tratando de sentir bueno, pero mi familia es un hoyo financieramente. 12 millones mantienen recogiendo chavos del banco. Cuenta cuánto nos preguntamos. Well, I'm sorry you're having a rough time, it seems.
Well, we'll check back with you.
That's what Attorney General Pam Bondi said last week. She is currently reviewing the Epstein files at the directive of the president. They're on her desk, and she fully intends on making them public.
Yeah.
However, fast forward to today, and the Epstein files still conspicuously have not been released. And with each passing day, suspicion continues to grow among conservatives who are beginning to imply that they suspect that she might be tampering with the list before it's released to protect some powerful people that she doesn't want named.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, didn't she protect? Wasn't this the same person? Wasn't this the same person that protected Jeffrey Epstein in Florida? Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but, like, come on. Yeah, where are the MLK files at?
Or maybe she just won't release it altogether. This is all speculation. People are growing anxious. Now, they can't quite figure out why she hasn't released the list yet. For example, a prominent conservative on Twitter named Gunther Eagleman asked, "Hey Pam Bondi, I know you are likely busy with day-to-day responsibilities within the DOJ, but the American people deserve to see who's on the Epstein client list. What's the holdup? Is someone keeping you from releasing the unredacted versions?" Hours later, he followed up saying, "Looking forward to seeing the list, but I want people arrested and jailed for being on it." Hours after that, after still not getting a response, he tweeted, "You know, anytime now on the Epstein list. Trump promised the release of it. What's going on, Pam Bondi? We demand answers." Others started to say the same thing. For example, MAGA Voice on Twitter, a fairly prominent conservative account, called for them to be released multiple times, getting lots of retweets for that, and later said that they should be unredacted as well. Cat Turd 2 chimed in as well, saying that the pedos associated with Epstein have been protected long enough, saying release the list already. Laura Loomer also echoed that call, saying still no Epstein list. If it's on the desk, what's taking so long? We don't need any more Fox News one-liners. Release the list if the list is on the desk. Now, I never thought that I would say this, so please don't take this out of context in the future. I actually agree with Laura Loomer for once. This is pretty suspicious. It almost feels like Pam Bondi is taking her time specifically to protect one person. Perhaps a person whose name she didn't expect to find on Epstein's list, and whose name she doesn't want to release to the public.
Well, I mean, would it be... I think he's hinting at Donald Trump, right? But, like, didn't we already know that this guy's name has appeared several times? Oh, I got you, Sock, now. No worries.
Public. I wonder who that might be. Thinking hard about that. Now, this isn't just some fringe request being made by right-wing influencers on Twitter, because Republican lawmakers have even started to ask the same question. For example, Representative Anna Paulina Luna writes, on February 11th and 19th, House Oversight sent a letter to the DOJ asking for status on releasing the Epstein files, as well as JFK etc. The DOJ has not responded, reaching out on X because we can't seem to get a response from the AG. Pam Bondi, what is the status of the...
Reaching out on Twitter for comment to, you know, government officials. Okay. Sure. X is really the everything app. Ah. Lou Blanchett, welcome. Hello, hello. Howdy.
Documents. These documents were ordered to be declassified. Additionally, Republican Congressman Tim Burchett says, where are the Epstein files, Pam Bondi? Republican Mike Collins says, release the Epstein files. Senator Mike Lee responded to that saying, this information belongs to the American people. It's about damn time they be given access to it. Now, I don't think that it's unreasonable for these Republican lawmakers to ask for the release of the Epstein files to be expedited, since Pam Bondi herself criticized Merrick Garland for rolling out the documents too slowly before she became AG.
I want to know why AG Garland and the Justice Department are so quiet on this tonight. You know, they're out there labeling parents domestic terrorists, yet they're saying nothing about this. And these documents were so slow to come out.
And she wasn't wrong when she said that months ago, but now that she's in a position to release the unredacted files, all of a sudden, she's the one who's dragging her feet, and people are noticing. But she's not the only one.
All I can say is that the rich want to make their numbers look good and then decide to shit on people. Yep. So Life, welcome. It's all redacted. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just like a giant, like, just black Sharpie marker all over it. But yeah, I mean, hey, if it's really all redacted and there's no issue, then like just release it, right? Like what harm could that do if it's all just going to be redacted anyways?
And who's currently feeling the heat because Senator Marsha Blackburn tweeted at Kash Patel saying, "For years, my efforts to crack the Epstein trafficking ring wide open have been stonewalled by Democrats at every turn. This will change under FBI Director Kash Patel."
Surely. Miss Foxy, welcome. I got jury duty and I'm telling them I'm mentally ill. Democracy is when Sharpie.
Sent him a letter asking for the complete and unredacted Epstein files. The time for transparency is now. No word yet at the time that I record this video on whether or not he's going to give those to her, but the requests for unredacted files specifically might be the real holdup here, given the likelihood that there's one name in particular that they just don't want us to see. You know, if we get anything, it's probably going to be censored or heavily edited, hence why Pam Bondi said she's taking the time to review them as opposed to just releasing them as they are, because she wants to make sure that we only see what she wants us to see.
I'm sure that Trump is going to push them to release it all. Yep.
But she's not the only Republican who...
It's going to be a bunch of like just redacted stuff that's going to be useless. Although, like, let's be honest, we know that Trump's name... We know that Trump's name has appeared multiple times, right? Like, we know that Trump is heavily associated with Jeffrey Epstein. Like, this isn't just like a one of. There's plenty of video and photo evidence of them hanging out.
Who people are looking at with side eyes because closeted homosexual conservative influencer Benny Johnson is alleging that FBI whistleblower claims that the FBI is actively destroying evidence after the Kash Bongino takeover. Quote, "The FBI is working day and night to destroy files on these servers. Can't be restored. I'm sure there's info about Epstein and subversion against Americans." Now, I don't necessarily know if Benny Johnson himself actually broke this story because the FBI whistleblower reportedly also gave this information to Michael Schellenberger. But Benny Johnson did get the most hits for this. This is a viral video online that's going around. But having said that, he's not a journalist. I feel like that goes without saying. Therefore, he's not qualified to vet the claims that this whistleblower is making, even if he had any interest in doing that. But the allegation here conveniently does not implicate Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. Rather, it implicates some deep state plans within the FBI who are acting against Bongino and Patel, who are trying to stop them from uncovering the truth. But on the other hand, if the current Attorney General, Pam Bondi, already said that she has the files on her desk, that suggests that the Epstein files couldn't possibly be affected by some deep state purge by bureaucrats who are trying to stop Kash Patel and Dan Bongino from getting to the bottom of this. Because, you know, if they deleted it, then she wouldn't have it. And that's part of the claim. Like, the video itself is very long and superfluous, but one of the claims is that this information can never be restored, even by somebody who's a genius like Elon Musk. That's not what they said, but that's basically the crux of it. So, I mean, if that were true with regard to these files specifically, then Pam Bondi wouldn't have it, but she does. So, unfortunately, it seems like the real problem here is actually going to be the cause of some cognitive dissonance for Republicans when I say it, because I suspect that it's probably a lot less complicated than they're making it out to be.
Yeah. We were Fight Clubbed. I think I just saw oh, Jesus. Yikes.
So just hear me out, Republicans, if you're still with me. What if Pam Bondi is taking her sweet time to release the Epstein files because she's trying to remove mentions of Donald Trump? Shocking, I know. But for some reason, this is something that none of them can fathom, which is weird to me. And one thing that still stands out to me is how delusional these people are. I mean, after Trump was convicted on all 34 felonies last year, Trump supporters were literally coping with tweets like this. They convicted Trump before convicting a single client of Epstein. Let that sink in, which is an amazing thing to say because Trump almost certainly was a client of Epstein, you dense motherfucker. But they refused to accept even the possibility that a man who was found liable for sexual assault in civil court who was accused of sexual misconduct by more than 24 women, who admitted on tape that he sexually assaults women, who was once one of Epstein's closest friends, according to him.
Yeah,
And
I mean, like, just to be clear, like, he did the thing. He did the thing, right? Like, a judge said that, that incident with E. Jean Carroll happened, right? Like, the problem is that it exceeded the statute of limitation, so it ended up being a civil thing, not a criminal one. But it happened. That's why he lost, right? That's why he paid her tens of millions of dollars. Okay. They're really taking the route that the DNC blocked it. I mean, whatever narrative they have to spin. Oh, it's the Democrats. Oh, it's actually deep state agents that are trying to acid wash the information. Whatever. You know, they'll come up with whatever nonsense they need to, and it's not. It doesn't really have to make sense.
Might possibly be implicated in the Epstein files. That possibility just hasn't occurred to them, apparently. And they haven't thought about whether or not that might be holding up the release of the Epstein files because they're hacks. They think that Epstein's link to Democrats like Bill Clinton and Alan Dershowitz, those are suspicious. Whereas Epstein's link to Donald Trump, it's merely coincidental. Just listen to Pam Bondi's rationalization of Trump's ties to Epstein before she was AG.
Well, we know he was on the plane, not only on the plane a couple times, multiple times. He traveled internationally with Jeffrey Epstein. And he was on the plane called the Lolita Express because it supposedly had a bed in there where Jeffrey Epstein had young girls. He has been a friend of his, a continuing friend of his for years and years. Contrast that with Donald Trump, who hasn't.
I legit thought she was talking about Donald Trump. I thought she was talking about Donald Trump. Oh man. Wow. They are the government now, for fuck's sake. They can't keep blaming the government. Yeah, I know. Like this is gonna maybe this is gonna start turning some gears with some of these people. I wouldn't hold my breath, but you know, maybe. Me too. Hey Heat, how's it going? Welcome. All right, let's see. Contrast with Donald Trump, who like barely knew the guy, right? Like I don't know him. You know, he looks like he was a bad man. I don't know him. Is that what we're gonna go with?
Spoken to him in many years, over a decade, after he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago for bad behavior.
But Pam, what exactly is this bad behavior you speak of? And was Trump maybe alluding to it when he said this? Quote, "I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy," Trump told New York Magazine that year for a story headlined, "Jeffrey Epstein, International Money Man of Mystery. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side, no doubt about it. Jeffrey enjoys his social life."
Yeah, that's not exactly the way I would describe a pedophile. That's not exactly the language I would use when describing a pedophile, but you know, sure. Bill Clinton was and is a sex pervert. Oh, that's not debatable. I'm not even gonna debate that. He was definitely a creep. He has a +4 favorability now. Biden at this time was something like +15. Man of means with no morals. Yep.
So that's kind of weird. In other words, Trump, at a minimum, knew something nobody else did about Jeffrey Epstein. The question is, why did he just kick him out of Mar-a-Lago? Why didn't he report Epstein to federal authorities? Because it seemed as if, by his own admission, he knew that something was going on there with his affinity for younger women. I mean, at best, Trump was covering for his rich buddies, which included Bill Clinton, by the way.
Yep. I mean, like, birds of a feather flock together, right? I mean... You know, it is said that Trump pressured the Romanian government, or at least lobbied the Romanian government to let these freaks back in the United States. So yeah, I mean, like, birds of a feather, you know? Rapists and predators protect rapists and predators. I mean, yeah.
One of his golfing buddies. But at worst, Trump himself could have been engaged in said bad behavior and only distanced himself from Epstein to save his own ass. But they refused to even entertain that this is a possibility despite all of the evidence tying Donald Trump to Epstein. I mean, even though Jeffrey Epstein said this, they still don't think Trump is suspicious.
So how do you know this?
Jesus. Is that Melania? I'm actually not sure, to be quite frank. Not sure.
Now, I know that they've heard that. It's just that, you know, they don't care and it goes in one ear and out the other. But in addition to that, Trump was also presumably close to Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, seeing that he wished her well and volunteered some additional information that seems pretty relevant.
Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison, and a lot of people...
I wish her well. You know, I don't know about what she was doing, but I wish her well, you know. If you have $5 or $6 billion, you're bound to have an immoral bone. Yeah, or a couple. How much is the human body? How many bones does the human body have? Like 200 and something? Call it 206? Or is it 226? I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. Oh, 206. Okay, there you go. Just look at all the rapist migrants he's setting free out in the world instead of putting them in jail. Exactly. Yeah, when Trump is talking about all, like, the rapists, like, migrants, is this who he's talking about? If that's the case, he's the one that's importing it. It's possible to be rich and moral, but it's not possible to achieve great power. Be moral. Money without power is anonymous. And money without power is anonymous. Well, no, it's not possible to be rich and moral. Like, there's only one way of getting rich, right? There's only one way of getting rich, and that's fucking a lot of people over. Oh! Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Nope. Nope. I'm not clicking it. I'm not clicking it. Nope. Nope. I don't think it's necessary to always have people over, but if your intention is not to go, is not to do the level of rich you can reach is capped. Okay, but if your intention is not to do so, the level of rich you can reach is capped. Yeah, I mean, I guess so, but to a degree, like, yeah, even people who are, like, mildly rich, like, it's kind of, and when I say rich, I mean, like, rich, like capital class rich. Why did the actual judiciary account post that? I have no idea. Okay, look, we have a circus right now going on in the country. We have a fascist circus going on, so I can't really speak to that, okay? I'm sorry, Mono. I'm sorry that literally, like, the actual, like, official judiciary account, okay, is posting the Rick Roll video, okay? Okay, the official House Judiciary GOP account is literally tweeting freaking Rick Roll videos. Okay, the president of the United States is engaging in, like, crypto scams. I don't know, man. Okay, this is not a serious country right now. Okay, when I say rich, I believe that applies to 50 million euros. I mean, like, yeah, you're gonna have to do a couple of things to make tens of millions of dollars, right? Below 50 million, you're closer to the worker than a billionaire in terms of lifestyle and means, and I think that's the capital class. I mean, like, if you own the means of production, then like by definition you are exploiting people. Okay, like I'm sorry, but you are the only like even the petite bourgeois, right? Like the smaller business owners and whatnot, they're still exploiting their workers, right? Because they're still stealing their value, right? Because that's how they make money. Okay, so like there's no way there's no way to be a tens of millionaire, okay, unless you like win the lotto, okay, without exploitation. It's just the way it works. Like capitalism is built on exploitation. Okay? Way to make me feel poor with 50 bucks in my, well, excuse me, 50, I was going to say euros, but 50 pounds in my account. Hate to break it to you, but the lotto's built on exploitation too. Well, yeah, I mean, the only way you get that money is by other people losing that money, right? So, yeah, I guess so. The only way you can win the lotto is by a lot of people losing the $2, $5, $1 ticket. Do they even make $1 tickets anymore? Anyways, yeah, so I guess like that lotto money comes at the expense of all those people losing. I've never played. I used to play a little bit here and there, but we used to have like way back when we used to have like a small lotto pool. But yeah, the capitalist insertion into government. If your argument is all profit is theft, then yes, it's inherently immoral, but from a lay moral perspective, it's possible to own a business that is high paying for employees and exists in an intellectual field with reasonable working conditions, so it is reasonably fair. But of course, if all profit is theft, then the gap from the pay of labor and profit of the owner is the thing you will say. Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Like, the only way to really make this work is if the actual employee is an owner of that business, right? That's how you make it fair, because then the employees, right, are owners of that enterprise, and they're the ones that are making those determinations. They're the ones that are working. They're not just the workers, but they're also the owners. So they get to democratically decide how things go. That is way more fair than what we are being sold right now. Because like you can have profits in a system where employees, right? Like you can have profits in a system where employees own the means of production. It's just a different way of running the show. I think equally it's hard because to accuse a rich person who cannot overturn that system themselves of being immoral, because again, someone like Elon Musk is capable of that change, whereas your local medium-sized business owner might try, but also be unfair. Well, yeah, but like that local medium-sized business owner undeniably is buying local government positions for favorable freaking legislation on the local level, and those local medium-sized business owners are exploiting. They're often are heavily exploitative to their employees. So yeah, I mean, like, unless you're selling me a system that involves the workers owning the means of production, meaning the workers are the ones that are running the show, then like, yeah, I'm gonna tell you that it's inherently exploitative. I mean, worker shareholding, I think, is a minimum required for modern intellectual business. But like, yeah, but like, it's not just shareholding because, okay, but like the workers need to be owners of that enterprise, right? Like, it's not just like, oh, as a worker, I own 10% stock of Amazon or whatever. Like, no, all the workers collectively own Amazon and then they build that business however they want or whatever. I'm just giving you an example. My old boss liked to think that he was doing us a real favor by buying breakfast burritos every Friday, but like no raises. Yeah, the pizza party, okay? But hey, how could workers be so mad, okay, when you get a weekly pizza party, okay? Wait, if I build a pizza shop with my paychecks at some job, at what point does the staff get to take it from me? As soon as you incorporate it. I saw a cupcake shop that was owned by a socialist, and now all her employees own and command. They share the profits, which is about $70,000 a year, and they all get car and health insurance. Well, I'll be damned. It's almost like you could probably have a functioning model that is actually fair, and where workers actually own the actual enterprise that they work in. Like that's actually pretty freaking amazing. Can you imagine? We're all family here. I don't care about standards of the rich when they are exploiting people. Right? Like that's my point. Like there's no way that you are rich. That you are rich and there's no way of exploitation, right? Because like, if you're rich, there's a reason how that happened. And not everything revolves around money, and we need to change that perspective of society, so that we can kind of maybe be open to different systems, right?
I know if she's going to turn in powerful people, and I know you've talked in the past about Prince Andrew, and you've criticized Bill Clinton's behavior. I'm wondering, do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach. And
we know. I don't know. I'd say profit sharing and worker representation is the best way to go. I've worked for cooperatives before, and it's always a mess. You have always a few people that want to be the boss. Yeah, but like you can make cooperatives that are actually working, right? Like that takes leadership, and that takes ways of cycling out or creating. Okay, like just because a business is a worker-owned business, that doesn't mean that there's still not going to be roles, right? It just means that the workers own that business collectively. So there are ways of doing this, and people are people. So you are going to find cooperatives that are going to be just bad. But yeah, I don't think that is a indictment on the concept of worker co-ops or the concept of like perhaps democratizing the workplace. Does that make sense? I think going forward, I'm just going to be actively unproductive. I think I'm not really interested in supporting a society that is cannibalizing itself and drowning in its own bile. Like, honestly, I don't blame you. Not exactly wrong. I see how you mean by a worker cooperative, but democracy creates bureaucracy, so it can work for some businesses, but not for others. I think employees being given voting shares with mandatory union is closer fair, but like, why couldn't it work, right? Like, so what's wrong with bureaucracy, right? Like, the bureaucracy exists for a reason. Also, a local cooperative to my friend back in the UK bought all the shops in their village and brought the corporate rents up so high that half the small businesses had to close. But like, did they get absorbed? Because like worker cooperatives also are companies, right? But anyways, the point being is that it's a much more fair system than one where just one owner gets to decide everything, or a small group of owners gets to decide everything. Well, I've seen worker representative leaders be just as overbearing as owner and executive, especially in the tech field. Oh, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. People are people. Unironically, worker co-ops can end up improving the area and bringing rent prices up. But hey, what if they raise wages? Because if cost of living goes up, but they're being propped up by wages because they're a worker cooperative, then like that might zero it out.
I guess they lived in Palm Beach, but I wish her well.
That's weird. See, maybe I'm alone here, but I personally don't wish notorious sex traffickers well. In fact, I wish them the absolute worst, and I hope that she experiences the same level of pain and suffering that she inflicted on all of her victims. But what's even more suspicious is the way that Trump responds to questions whenever Epstein is brought up. All of a sudden, the guy who never shuts the fuck up doesn't have much to say and suddenly tries to change the subject.
Do you think Epstein killed himself sincerely?
I don't know. I will say that, he was a fixture in Palm Beach.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's not the question. That can harm the locals. It's a joke system. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Bureaucracy is usually a trade-off, and it produces the modern corporate hyper-cautious doublespeak. Let's circle back to this, because ultimately it's a drag on productivity. It depends, right? Like, it really depends. He was a fixture in Palm Beach because he literally had the police there in his back pocket. I guess it depends on how the worker co-ops is set up, and it depends on how, I guess, the local regulations are to make sure that rent prices can only go up from X amount. But again, I don't think that that is a indictment on the concept of worker cooperatives or the concept of workers owning the means of production. He was fixture in Palm Beach because he literally had the police there in his back pocket. They were paid off. Trump not mentioning that is so weird. Or not. Or also, again, I have a question. Wasn't Pam Bondi the person who was in charge of this whole case in Florida? Yeah, someone please think of the landlords. If democracy is such a burden, debt, or a liability to a company, then we should then nationalize them, because you either support the free market capitalist model of worker co-ops or you support nationalization. You cannot say you're a free market and you're shitting on the model based on bureaucracy.
I don't know what Barr said about it either. I have no idea what he said. What did he say? He killed himself, probably?
He said he killed himself and that they were going to do this investigation. They never did the investigation. It's never been public.
Well,
and they hid it. And why are they doing that? And clearly Barr knew. But why would Bill Barr be covering up the death of Jeffrey Epstein?
Bill Barr didn't do an investigation on the election fraud either, okay? He said he did, and he pretended he did, but he didn't. But he didn't do the job there. I don't know what he did with Epstein, but possibly he didn't.
Do you think it's possible that Epstein was killed?
Oh, sure, it's possible. I mean,
The issue in my friend's village is that the co-op was set up by the local elderly to buy out a landlord company and reform it as a co-op, and then they just jacked the rent. When someone complained, they hid behind the co-op, which, yes, all their 30 employees were equally owners. Well, then that's just like sleazy people, right? Like, that just sounds like sleazy people.
don't really believe it.
Moanep, welcome.
I think he probably committed suicide. He had a life with, beautiful homes and beautiful everything, and he, all of a sudden, he's in. I would say that he did, but there are those people, there are many people, I think you're one of them, right? But a lot of people think that he was killed. He knew a lot on a lot of people.
He was killed.
You think so?
I think the closer you look, I'm not a conspiracy person at all.
Yeah, he
I
is.
believe everything I hear.
What? Oh, come on.
But yeah, the closer you look into it, I mean, the Attorney General of the United States, your Attorney General, clearly lied about the Epstein death.
Yeah,
and
he was.
Why?
He was certainly. It wasn't well done. They had no cameras. They had no anything. Everybody was sleeping, and a case could be made. Look, I'm not going to get involved in it.
Listen, I'm no body language expert, but it was evident that he was very uncomfortable there. But before the 2024 election, after that
I wasn't even welcomed. Oh, come on. No, I saw you. I saw you, Soul Life. Maybe I didn't say welcome. Sorry about that. Welcome. Democracy is and always has been flawed for this reason, and nationalization is just an alternative hierarchy to fit into. Fundamentally, the issue of ownership is of hierarchy, so that is a reductive argument to reintroduce it. I'm not a conspiracy person, but I'm expressly putting forward a theory of conspiracy. Yeah, I mean, like, it just depends, right? Like, first of all, like, I think that just kind of thinking back to that situation, like, raising rent on the local population, like, wait a minute, why are we commodifying housing, right? In the first place.
Interview, he was
Worker co-op or not.
asked about declassifying files regarding 9/11, JFK, and whatnot, but look at how his enthusiasm suddenly changed when he was asked about Jeffrey Epstein files.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah,
Would you declassify JFK files?
yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
I saw a couple of pics of Trump and his daughter online that were very sus looking. It's from when she was young. Oh, I mean, like, you don't even need that. He literally said, like, if she wasn't my daughter, and that kind of tells you everything you need to know.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would.
Phony
Is
stuff.
there now phony stuff like maybe your name popping up? Is this you getting ahead of it so your supporters think that the files are phony if they see your name? I don't know. It's just a bizarre thing to say, right? It's obvious that for some reason he's hesitant about releasing the Epstein files and always was. And when he was asked about said hesitation on Lex Friedman's podcast, his answer was very, very interesting.
There's a moment where you had some hesitation about Epstein releasing some of the documents.
Yep, same daughter too. Ugh.
Why the hesitation?
I don't think I had.
Bipedal meatbag, welcome. When they say free market, literally everything would be on the market, including necessities. Yep. To clarify, I'm mostly here to play devil's advocate. It is fun. Gotcha. When they say free market, oh, sorry, I already read this. I think I got everything. All right, let's continue.
I mean, I'm not involved. I never went to his island, fortunately. But a lot of people did.
Whoa, calm down there, Don. Nobody's accusing you of anything. He's simply asking why that seems like such a sore subject for you. But I do find it interesting. That's the
little defensive there, Donnie boy. When Trump releases a list, it'll be a bunch of names of Trump's enemies.
word we'll use. Interesting that your first instinct when Epstein was brought up was to defend your innocence. That's definitely something that I think an innocent person would do for sure. But I mean, I'm sure that everybody watching that believes you, because after all, it's not like you've ever lied about anything, right? You're a very honest person. But nonetheless, he could...
The most honest person on the planet. Capitalism is just slavery with an extra step. Yeah, like, capitalism is slavery, but like you kind of get to pick and choose your chains. And you get to pick your chains. You can even customize your chains for a price. You can choose how long your chains are. But yeah.
Continues to talk in this interview, and he says so much more. And it honestly gets sad, albeit in a hilarious way. Just watch.
Why do you think so many smart, powerful people allowed him to get so close?
He was a good salesman. He was, was a hale and hearty type of guy. He had some nice assets that he'd throw around, like islands. But a lot of big people went to that.
I don't live under a federalist system. Please end the American defaultism with me. It's so hard to follow. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm American, so excuse me if I have that kind of bias the way I think about things. Lex Friedman is a man above men. That's not exactly a way I would describe Lex Friedman. I think grifter would be probably a better description. A weasel would probably be a better descriptor.
That island. But fortunately, I was not one of them.
It's just very strange for a lot of people that
Scientists, oh yeah, dude, cool, bro, cool story, bro. I don't care.
the list of clients that went to the island has not been made public.
He's a clown. Lex Friedman is a clown.
Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? Probably will be, by the way. Probably.
So if you're able to, you'll be.
Yeah, I'd certainly take a look at it. Now, Kennedy's interesting because it's so many years ago. You know, they do that for danger too, because, you know, endangers certain people, et cetera, et cetera. So Kennedy is very different from the Epstein thing. But yeah, I'd be inclined to do the Epstein. I'd have no problem with it.
That's great to hear.
Good idea, sir.
Yeah, get
Throw
real,
RFK
buddy.
Jr.'s
Man, fuck Lex Friedman. Get out of here.
ass right under that fucking bus, so that way we're talking about his association with Epstein and not yours. That's brilliant, honestly. Brilliant. But I mean, on a serious note, Trump's association with Epstein, as suspicious as it may be, isn't definitive proof that he is implicated in any of Epstein's crimes. That being said, I do think that there is enough there to warrant an investigation at a minimum, because as the Palm Beach Post points out, Trump flew on Epstein's plane 8 times between 1993 and 1997, and Bill Clinton was on board 17 times between 2002 and 2003, and Snopes confirms that this photo of Bill Clinton getting a massage from 22-year-old Epstein accuser Shantae Davies.
Ooh, that's so freaking creepy, man. You're not even allowed to be homeless. 40,000 a year income and a 750 credit score is not even enough to qualify for an 800 a month a studio apartment, at least where I live. Yeah, there's not even that.
Is indeed real. Now, again, to be fair, none of this is sufficient evidence of crimes. But given their proximity
In
to
the South and the
Epstein,
Midwest,
and given the amount
maybe.
of power they have, and the fact
I haven't seen one yet.
that they're public figures who have influence over politics, I do think that it's reasonable for us to ask for an independent, nonpartisan entity to look into whether or not there's anything there, right? Are they directly or indirectly implicated with crimes? We don't know. But I think that we need some closure on this issue because there's a lot there and it stinks, right? Now, to state the obvious, Trump's reluctance up until this point does make it seem like he has something to hide, which is all the more reason why I think that the Epstein files should be made public. And of course, they should be made public in their entirety, not redacted. Now, in the event, evidence suggests that Donald Trump and any other powerful person, including Democrats like Bill Clinton, were complicit. I think that they should all be tried and they should all be convicted and they should all be imprisoned. Trump and Bill Clinton can share a cell.
Raleigh has 800 a month apartments. Well, I'm packing my bags, okay, and moving to the Orange State.
As far as I'm concerned. But I mean, part of the problem is that I'm willing to be consistent and say both Democrats and Republicans implicated with Epstein's crimes should be held accountable, whereas the same can't be said for Trump sycophants who want the Epstein files to be released only insofar as they have damning evidence on Democrats and not Republicans like Donald Trump. I mean, ask yourself, how would these Republicans who are demanding that the Epstein files be released right now respond if they came out and there was definitive proof that Trump was culpable?
You can get 2 solar generators for the price of 1. Now it's time to introduce you to your first generator.
We already kind of have an idea as to how they'd react to that, since they reject.
I live in the Midwest, and the cheapest apartments I've seen is $1,200, and you definitely don't want to live in that area. All right, that's enough. Louis and Sock now. I think Louis Blanchett is playing devil's advocate. So yeah, let's just move on. Find an 800 a month apartment and qualifying for 1 or 2 different things. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
All the other non-Epstein related allegations against Donald Trump. I mean, they don't believe that he raped E. Jean Carroll. They seemingly don't believe any of the 26 women who accused him of crimes ranging from sexual harassment to rape. So we all know how they'd react if we did get evidence that he was guilty, like his buddy Epstein. They would call it fake news and accuse the deep state of tampering with the documents or cooking up bullshit to implicate him when it's not actually true, or they just believe whatever bullshit excuse Donald Trump himself gives them. Because there's not going to be anything, no amount of evidence that would snap them out of the false reality that they've constructed for themselves. So that's why I actually find it pretty strange that Trump is so awkward whenever Epstein is brought up. Sure, he might be culpable in some way. This is conjecture, but even if he is, he's learned over the past few years that he can do anything and get away with it. Anything he does is never going to amount to him being held.
Yeah, like, why would he be afraid? Since, like, the president enjoys so much immunity, clearly, even when the immunity didn't apply to him, like, nothing happened, right? Like, he literally tried to overturn the election of the United States, and nothing happened to him. Nothing. So, I mean, he literally was found liable for the, I don't want to get the terminology wrong, but he was literally found legally liable for sexual assault, right? Like, he never went to criminal trial for any of that, right? He's gotten away with a whole lot of stuff.
Held accountable. He tried to overthrow the last election and was convicted of 34 felonies. So, of course, if he did commit even more crimes of the Epstein nature, he's not going to be punished for it. He's untouchable. And moreover, his base is never going to leave him no matter what, even if they say they want the people associated with Epstein who were guilty to be put in prison, because we know that they don't think that applies to Trump. And even if it did, they would find some way to do mental gymnastics to make him innocent in their minds, right? Because again, they gobble up whatever bullshit he sells them. They're already buying the story about him kicking Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago for bad behavior, which doesn't make him look good. And Pam Bondi is not the only person to parrot that shitty excuse. Last year, Marjorie Greene called the accusation against Donald Trump and Epstein fake, saying that him kicking Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago was proof that he had nothing to hide. As if him discovering evidence of sex trafficking but not reporting it makes him look good. If you believe that, I've got a bridge to sell you. But I mean, this is the type of people that we're dealing with. And fortunately for Donald Trump, it doesn't really matter if the Epstein files are never released or if they are and he's implicated, because his cult will find some way to deflect.
Might just be because he's lazy and he'd have to make a lot of phone calls and do awkward appearances to wait out the Epstein stuff. Doge could lead the way for Dems dominating the midterms, but why wouldn't Trump just call it fraud and block it like he did with the money? I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not very certain about what's happening in the next couple of years. I'm not sure what's going to happen. To be honest. Yeah, all right, that's enough. That's enough. Everybody chill out.
Blame on somebody else. And it's too early to tell if they're going to blame the deep state or Pam Bondi for that. But regardless, we know for damn sure it's not going to be Donald Trump, which is sad because it demonstrates that these people don't actually give a shit about holding powerful people accountable. And they certainly couldn't care less about justice for any of Epstein's victims. But guess what? I do, which is why I think that we should.
All right. Listen, sock now. It's okay. Chill. It's okay. Just calm down. Trump is obviously isn't worried about it. Trump might be immune to criminal prosecution, but Elon and the rest of Doge isn't. You know, like, that's actually an important question. Like, when after all this is said and done, like, because this can't go on forever, right? Like, this can't go on forever, and I think that, like, people need to go to prison. For all of this that's happening, people like Elon Musk need to go to prison. Ideally, Trump too, by the way. But we'll see.
Should release the files and hold every pervert involved accountable regardless of their party affiliation, but I don't think that Trump supporters would make that same exact request. In fact, if the Epstein files are never released, they're not going to blame Donald Trump or suspect that maybe he doesn't want them released because he's implicated. They're just going to blame Pam Bondi or the deep state or somebody else because that's how they operate.
Trump does have pardon power. That's true. Steffilo, welcome.
Can never get consistency for them, and whatever cause they purport to care about, there's always some ulterior motive behind it. It's not because they care about justice, it's because they care about owning somebody who they don't like. So that's what this is about. But look, I genuinely hope that I'm proven wrong, and I hope that they are released, and I hope we see the unredacted version, because the people who are involved do need to be held accountable.
Yeah, I don't think you can discount how much us being in this situation is, because we didn't put people in prison originally. Yep. Starting with Trump, by the way. Like, I mean, how is it, right? Like, that you have this guy attempting to overturn the election, right? 4 years ago, or whatnot, not in prison, right? How do you have a guy that committed, charged and convicted of 34 counts of fraud, and this guy was allowed to run for president, okay? Not in prison, didn't see a single day in prison, got completely away with it, and is now the president, and is now enjoying a second term in the White House. That is just wild. Lock up Bush and Obama, too. I mean, I don't care. They're war criminals, too. Force Trump to pardon them. To be fair, every single president since FDR should be hanged for war crimes. Well, I mean, you can guarantee that, like, almost every single president has committed war crimes. Almost every single president. Like, you could point to one president and you could probably find some kind of atrocity or war crime or human rights violation. But yeah. Money and power, indeed. If you have money and power, the laws don't apply to you the same way. I remember years ago making that argument to someone who's kind of right-leaning, and they said, well, but but then why aren't they in jail? And as Mono posted earlier, here is the official House Judiciary GOP account literally posting.
Hey, I got...
Hi.
Literally posting that. That's literally they're posting. Like, they're making fun of it. Yeah. I vote no confidence.
A little over 30 days ago, Trump launched his meme coin and ushered in a promise of less regulation for crypto. So, how's that going? Well, the crypto markets are down almost...
Why? I don't know.
$1 trillion, and everything is much lower. Now, there's some reason for that, you know, could be explained by macro factors. I want to make the case, though, today that opening up the floodgates to scams and crime actually is not a good idea in hindsight. Believe it or not, retail investors do not enjoy being scammed and conned. Now you have the president's son saying, buy the dips. And Michael Saylor saying volatility is a gift to the faithful, which sounds like some weird cult thing. Now, I'm not telling you guys you should or shouldn't, suddenly believe in crypto. I'm just making.
I am. You should not. You should not do crypto. Okay, it's a scam. Okay. I know like his channel revolves around like breaking down how these things are a scam. But yeah, like just to be clear, like buying crypto is silly. Don't do that. Okay? Like this is not financial advice. Okay? I'm just saying if there's something that has a track record, okay, with like being fraudulent and making people lose a lot of money and constant rug pulls that aren't regulated, I'm not saying anything as far as financial advice, but I'm just saying like that's not I'm just saying I wouldn't, and I would advise to stay away from crypto. I like CoffeeZilla, but it always annoys me that we have to treat the digital magic bean market like it has some kind of validity with market caps and shit.
The simple case, in securities, in equities, in whatever industry you're in, scams, believe it or not, are bad net overall. People keep saying like, oh, we need to deregulate all this stuff. All these SEC people have been fired. All these FBI agents have been reassigned. Oh, we don't want anyone on crypto cases. That's sort of been the attitude of this administration so far. Is
yeah, what could possibly go wrong?
That we're just gonna let everyone do whatever they want and sort it out in the wash. But it's not been going well. I mean, it's only been like 30 days and it's been a disaster. So I called this out like a month ago. Onboarding millions into crypto with scams and grifts is a terrible idea in hindsight. And that was because the Trump meme coin had just launched. And I saw that it had gotten sniped. Those guys had made over $100 million.
Cool.
But I was worried for the retail investors because this coin promised nothing, right?
By the way, this is the president of the United States, okay?
Just a total Ponzi nothing, where the president owns 80% and is going to sell on you when his tokens unlock. And now you look at the price. Look at this. It's $13 right now, right? In order to have captured any value, if you were holding this coin, you would have had to buy within the first basically 2 hours of launch.
Jesus Christ.
You understand that? Anytime after that, if you're still holding, you probably lost money. That is the successful coin of this whole season, by the way. That's the most success, is almost everyone got rinsed and lost money.
Jesus. Not alive, Bitcoin tanks to 2,500 like it did in 2020. I'm going to buy a Bitcoin. He's always like, so if you look deep, you can see that it's a meme coin was actually a scam because of the timing of the release and shares and the way the majority of the volume was owned by a limited number of people, when you could tell it was a scam because it's crypto and a meme coin. Right. Yeah, of course.
You take a look at Melania coin. Even worse. Obviously, we have now...
I just think that's like some people like don't really grasp that, like, because like... rug pulls in the way the stock market works that's illegal. Like, no way this would be happening in the stock market when you're trading like actual companies, right? When you're trading actual shares of companies like that, this doesn't happen. Like, there's that literally there was a whole movie about this. Okay,
now figured out that Hayden Davis sniped this coin, was selling this coin. There was insider trading going on. But another coin where, look, we should deregulate. They're just collectibles now. What's the problem? We're onboarding people into crypto. That's what people kept telling me. Oh, we're onboarding. Don't worry. We're onboarding. And
this is like corporate gobbledygook.
It's like, okay, yeah. But
crypto is like any other market. Few winners and a whole lot of losers.
To what?
Yeah, but there's like there's no oversight of this at all. Like, this is why these rug pulls keep happening, right? Like, that's the problem, right? It's not like you can't do this in a normal regulated market like the stock market, right?
Into losing money? Oh, I got onboarded into crypto. Yeah, okay, so what happened? Well, I lost all my money, but at least At least I'm into crypto. At least I understand crypto now. That's the logic of this space. And look, there's some people who are upset that I'm going to talk about this. They're going to go, you're convenient timing, right? But the thing is, if I talk about this when things are good, people are going to tell me, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Look at how high the market is. Everything's going
I
great.
thought crypto was unregulated. I know Biden did something to it that it raised the value. I don't know. Crypto is heavily unregulated. There's not really a lot going on here as far as like governmental oversight. How well did those Trump NFTs go? It went phenomenal for
These
Donald
cons are
Trump.
fine. But you have to go and assess after the fact, right? You obviously have to take a moratorium after things have gone wrong and say, okay, well, what could we have done different? And the answer is basically not launched a bunch of Ponzi's where insiders, devs, and people in the know benefit, KOLs, key opinion leader, whatever.
Yeah, so what he's saying is that we need government oversight. What he's saying is that we need government regulations.
So that's Jail Stool, by the way, I just showed you. That's the Dave Portnoy coin. He got into crypto. He also launched Greed Coin. That went very well. Then you have Ryan Coin. This is Ryan Garcia, the boxer. Now, why do you think people launch these coins? This is almost identical to the Trump launch. It's directly because Trump gave the green light to everyone and was like, hey, it's meme coin season. It's fine. Now this is all perfectly legal. You can do this without fear of consequence. So it's exactly what Ryan did.
It's Wolf on Wall
Wall
Street shit.
And everyone who bought basically lost money. Shocker, shocker. Same thing with Enron coin. We also know Hayden Davis was involved in that as well. Another huge scam, which was sniped.
Enron coin, phenomenal. I wonder how many hogs were upset that an NFT wasn't the physical Trump card.
Then you have Libra token, another great coin from the Argentinian president. We all know how that went. I hope you're getting the point, which is that, look, we deregulated, right? And what happened? Just a bunch of people got scammed. Like, it wasn't like, oh, the innovation was incredible. It's like, what are we innovating on?
The efficiency of how many people... We're innovating the next rug pull is what's happening. One of the biggest issues with crypto recently is that banks have gotten into the crypto market. The exposure means when crypto crashes, you need government to jump in and bail out the banks again. Jesus Christ. Like, how much is that like a thing? How much is that? How much of that is a thing? Like, how much money have banks actually invested in crypto? Because like that would gauge how bad that crash is going to be, right? Because that's kind of concerning. We should watch that movie. The Wolf on Wall Street. I mean, we could do that. We could do that. We could do that for Saturday's movie. Banks should pull themselves up by their bootstraps. Didn't they send you a physical card for like 100 digital cards you bought with a piece of the suit? Yeah, I think so. I think so. But yeah, you have to spend like $1,000 to get that. Or something to that effect, right? Because each little Trump card was like $100, wasn't it? So you had to spend like $1,000, right? Or was it $100 for a set? Was it $100 for a set? Or I can't even remember. I gotta find it, but yes, I mean, hey, I'm down to watch The Wolf of Wall Street. Seems relevant.
How to scam more from people? I just hope that all these look, because every time this happens, everybody says, look, you're ignoring the utility in this space. It's like, okay, all right. But when the utility, so like, I guess that's like the apps that are getting built, right? The future of finance. I guess that's like some of these centralized exchanges, for example, some of these DeFi apps. But when those very people do not call out these scams, these frauds when it's happening, and they only do it in hindsight, it's a problem. Like, for example, Coinbase, something that pissed me off, and Coinbase, Kraken, all the major exchanges listed Trump coin almost immediately. Even though anyone could have seen with a brain that this coin was not going to do well because it was built on nothing, right? It's just built on zero promises, zero utility. There's nothing, right? There's nothing. It's vaporware. These exchanges, the builders in the space, are happy to sell it to retail investors to print money, right? And then when everything goes wrong, it's, oh, dang, who could have seen this coming, bro? Who could have, oh, I wish we had known. It's like, yeah, everyone knew this was going to happen. So that's kind of why I'm mad. Is it's like, okay, yes, you could say there are people who are building like products, but those people are also benefiting from all these scams and grifts, right? Like Meteora, this launch pad on Solana.
Jesus.
You could say, well, they're not running the scams. Yeah, they're benefiting. They're happy to take your money. The casinos are happy to take your money. And then they go, oh, well, you know, we got to get these bad actors out of the space. It's like, well, say that when it's happening, right? This also happened with Steve Coin, Steve Will Do It Coin.
Steve Coin.
That was tweeted about. We have this coin, which I will not say. This is the Atom 22 coin, which I guess was the ultimate top signal. But I think it's just worth reflecting on the fact that this was sort of entirely predictable when you deregulate an industry already.
Someone needs to make a dartboard with Trump's mugshot on it. I bet the people who got those, if it was even real, are proud of their little collectible. I think up to now, it's like moderate exposure. A dip tightens things. A crash has people making phone calls. But part of the reason crypto exists is because you can keep creating new assets and pumping them up, so it eats up increasing large part of the financial markets. It's not bounded by actually needing to be a real industry creating tangible products. Yeah. Yep.
Already known for having tons of scams and fraud. It's like, if we need anything, it's the opposite. We need actually more people getting like justice for committing these crimes, or what should be crimes, right? We're deregulating it. We're making it so these aren't crimes. And predictably, there was an explosion of scams and grifts when we deregulated it, and it's just bad. Even if you're completely in favor of crypto, you should be against this stuff. And so, yeah, I just feel like...
But why? If I can just, like, create the next meme coin and make, like, $1 million. Even if I just make $1 million, I mean, easy money, right? Like, why would I want regulation when I can just invent the next meme coin? Money isn't real, but crypto is even less real. True.
This is a really basic thing. And with the president's son tweeting "buy the dips," I think it's worth reflecting where the dip came from. Yes, there are macro events and stuff like that, but I think a big part of it is people are sick of getting scammed. And until that stops and is cleaned up and people face consequences.
Oh, I don't know about that. Because they're still doing it, right? Like, how many rug pulls have we seen in like the last like half a year, right? The Haktua coin or whatever, Haktua girl coin, that was a rug pull. The Trump coin, that was a rug pull. He pointed out a couple more events, or more meme coins.
You are going to continually face a populace that is incredibly skeptical of your products, and with good reason, because the guy who's leading policy on this, Donald Trump, has a coin that is vaporware and rinsed a bunch of people who onboarded, right? There was tons of people, according to Moonshot, their platform payment provider, who they said they were brand new to crypto. So, okay, you onboarded them, then they lost money. What do you think their attitude towards scams is gonna be? All right, that's basically what I want to say. It's just a little rant about that. And hope we learn, but I don't think we will.
Nope, there's no reason. There's no reason to learn.
I'm John Phillips. I'm the Senior Vice President of Customer Support.
There's no reason to learn when you can just like consistently make the next rug pull. Yeah, consistently. For every the simulacra welcome, for every one you've heard of, there's tons more shitcoin rug pulls you'll never hear. Right. So like, why would I want regulation when I can just make a new the next like shitcoin and just make like $1 million or even like $100,000, man? That's life changing. So like I'll just why would I like want regulation on that? You know what I mean? So the point being is I don't see there being regulation unless like a progressive administration gets in there. And I think that people will continue to fall for this, right? I mean, like, if they didn't learn, okay, from like the umpteenth thousandth rug pull, then like they're not going to learn. They're not going to learn. Did you see the House GOP committee tweeted in regards to the Epstein files? Yep. We literally just went over that. They are basically haha, like Soul Life posted, like haha, child rapist, haha, here's a Rick roll. Like yeah, pretty freaking disgusting. My personal definition that money, like US dollars, is a claim to a portion of the productive capacity of a country. I like to use that because it's a good way to understand what part of money is valid while also understanding the relationship between money and political power. I mean, fair. Okay. We have a couple of headlines to go through. The House GOP voted to take over $800 billion from Medicaid. Kind of expected from a committee chaired by Jim Jordan, though. True. Earlier this week, the House Republican House passed the budget resolution. One goal is to slash $2 trillion over a decade from the federal budget, which could bring significant cuts to Medicaid. Medicaid is a joint federal and state health insurance program for disabled and low-income Americans. The Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services works with state programs to administer Medicaid, which enrolls more than 72.1 million people. Medicaid offers benefits including nursing home care, personal care services, and assistance, paying for premiums and other costs, according to CMS. Health policy experts say Medicaid provides vital services to many vulnerable Americans, and cuts to the program could put them at risk of losing medical care, either by taking away their coverage or by closing the centers that provide such care. The Medicaid program provides this life-saving coverage for the most vulnerable individuals in our country, said Mariana Sokal, an associate health professor of health policy and management at Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. The uncertainty surrounding the coverage in the Medicaid program moving forward is a big stressor in the lives of these individuals who depend on the program. So, yeah, and just to be clear, a good portion of the people that are going to be affected are poor, because that's what this program is designed to help. And a good portion of those people are in red states. Just like Michael Hessler points out, Texas and Florida will be hit hardest. No doubt about it. Kind of expected. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I read that. I think we should all agree that protecting the health of vulnerable individuals should be priority in this country, not seen as an opportunity for savings. Because, like, just to be clear, like, this is not savings, right? So, just to be clear, this is not savings per se, because you're not saving these trillions of dollars over 10 years. It's a transfer, because you're cutting these services, the funding for these vital services like Medicare, Medicaid, and the SNAP program, to fund tax cuts for the rich. That's what's happening. So we're not saving anything, okay? Just to be clear, GOP reps are getting death threats from Trump supporters if they speak out against Trump. Yeesh. That's like saving money by not eating this month. Yep. Don't worry, the rich are going to create jobs with the tax breaks. Yeah. The rich are going to create a massive amount of jobs after they finish buying their, after they finish doing stock buybacks and purchasing the next yacht that they need. Yeah, I'm sure they'll take care of that. I'm sure they'll take care of us after that. You can save dollars, but then we are not saving lives. One of the proposals being considered by the GOP to cut down on Medicaid costs includes getting rid of Medicaid match rates. Under the Affordable Care Act's expansion of Medicaid, the government finances 90% of costs of those who are made newly eligible under the program. This could change to the government paying states the same it does for everyone else in the program, which is about 2/3 of the total cost. Additionally, the federal government could implement per capita grants. Currently, the federal government matches what the states spend on payment at different levels for different states without a budget cap. The per state capita would see the federal government set a limit on how much states can be reimbursed per enrollee. I mean, like, this is why, like, this is just so absurd. Why are we wasting, like, so much time, effort, and money, and just, like, cost, human cost to just, like, do all of this stuff when we can just have a universal healthcare system where, like, it's just for everyone, regardless of which state you live in. You don't have to, like, figure out who gets what. Like, none of that matters. It should just be a simple universal healthcare plan. None of this crap. Medicaid should be, like, for all, essentially. Don't worry, the rich are gonna... Oh, sorry, I reread this. Still waiting for the trickle down. Yeah, any day now. Any day now. What that means then is in order to live within that fixed budget, you would have to find either individuals to cut out of the program or services that you would not provide to the people in the program. Said Dennis Shea, a professor of health policy and administrator at the Penn State College of Health and Human Development. Cool. You mean the Reagan trickle down from 1985? Yeah, I keep waiting for it. Yep. I mean, it's 2025. And I'm allegedly a couple decades old. And I've yet to experience this so-called trickle-down economics. Mark Peterson, a professor of public policy at UCLA Meyer and Renee Luskin School of Public Affairs, said the issue is not just cuts in federal spending, but also how states would respond if there's a shortfall in the funding. Still trickling, give it time. He said Medicaid is currently the single largest expenditure of the states on average, and dramatic cuts to the funding from the federal government would be an enormous hole for states to fill. If they were to try to fill in, they would either have to raise taxes significantly, which is not likely to happen, or they would have to cut, say, their next major spending category, which is also not likely, said Peterson. And even very wealthy states like California, for instance, have been going through their own budget struggles. So it's not like they're sitting on a pile of money that's ready to reallocate. There'd be extremely serious budgetary consequences. Yeah, so in other words, like, if they can't cover the costs, right, if they can't fill that hole, what is going to end up happening is the Medicaid is just going to implode, right? It's not going to function. That's kind of the goal. Wolf Raza, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. The experts say Medicaid cuts would also impact the healthcare system. Medicaid provides a great deal of funding for hospitals, long-term care facilities, nursing homes, and service for children with special needs. Just to be clear, this is what Republicans are trying to get rid of. Chase said one example is that Medicaid pays for more than 60% of nursing home residents. If funds are slashed, then residents won't have the money to pay for nursing home care, and nursing homes won't receive that revenue, which could lead to the closure of nursing homes. Rural Americans would also be at risk of losing service, a great deal being Republican voters. Shea said many rural hospitals and community health centers have already closed, and the ones that remain open face funding challenges. If they were to lose Medicaid funding, they could see closures, which could deprive rural Americans of vital services. In rural areas, Medicaid coverage tends to be the larger proportion of coverage, so it's not unusual for 30, 40, or even 50% of the people in rural area to be covered by Medicaid. And if that source of revenue is not coming into the hospitals or the nursing home or the physician practices in those areas, it makes it that much harder for those businesses to survive. Again, maybe this should all be just a federally funded universal healthcare system. I'm still waiting for my next trickle down. Red states, as a ratio of income and federal payments, collect more welfare than blue states. I don't know when they're going to effing understand this. Yeah, 100% off-world colonists. 100%. For all the hemming and hawing about the quote welfare state, red states they benefit more from federal programs and federal funding than blue states. Remember when a presidential candidate would be disqualified for not knowing how to spell potato? Those were the days. Remember when presidents would be forced to resign because they were criminals? Because all of Congress got together and threatened them and threatened him to threatened to remove him if he didn't resign. Yeah, I remember. It would be cheaper to do universal. It's about control and greed. Corruption has been rampant for too long. Well, I don't disagree. Have you seen some of these rural towns in red states in the middle of America? Entire towns full of white people on their, by the way, on welfare. Yeah, and just to be clear, that's perfectly fine. That's fine. It's just come on, man. You're going against your own interests here, man. BRB got to leave for work. No problem. Thank you. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. And so we would probably see thousands of nursing homes close in rural areas, and you would see hundreds of hospitals closing too. I'll leave my tab open. Thank you. Appreciate it. So that's who's going to be affected by these cuts, right? In the name of wealth transfer, okay? In the name of reverse Robin Hood, because this isn't savings. Just to be clear, we're not saving anything. We're just transferring that to the wealthy in the form of tax cuts, right? While Musk Doge is slashing FFA budgets and oversight positions, and contracts with Verizon worth around $2.5 billion, and guess to whom or what company the contracts are going to instead? Oh yeah, 100%. 100% this is what this is about. Why do you think they're in the treasury? Yeah, 100%. I mean, he said it. He wants Starlink to take over. He wants Starlink to take over. They won't realize it's what affects them personally. Can't warn them until blue in the face. No dice, got to learn the hard way, apparently. Yeah, if you want to cut waste, you do single-payer health insurance or nationalized healthcare. The amount of waste, grift, and shoe leather costs of our healthcare system is ridiculous. That would be a good way to counter the empty claims that Doge is increasing efficiency. Right. I mean, it's just so infuriating and absurd that we're running with this talking point that this is about finding waste, fraud, and abuse, because that's this constant that we keep hearing from this administration when this has nothing to do with anything. Trump also promised not to honor any contracts with Musk company. He added a caveat only where he personally does not see the conflicts. Yeah, don't worry. we can trust them. We can definitely trust them. That would be socialism, though, and we can't have that. True. Yeah, universal healthcare is indeed socialism. So yeah, sorry, poors. You don't get healthcare. I should have probably moved to this story after the Epstein story. I didn't think about that. Nursing homes are so expensive that if you do have special insurance for it, someone would have to go on Medicaid, and these folks, these are folks that are in the middle class. Yeah, I mean, like, it's just disgusting. It's disgusting what these people, what these ghouls are trying to do. Not trying, what they did. This is exactly it. Like, they're hurting people, man. Okay, they're taking away care from people who need it, from people, from elderly people who need this for to be able to go to nursing homes, for children, for poor people. Well, my ex-wife did similar, accuse others of what you're doing preemptively, so when they try to call it out, these accusations cancel each other out for those not paying attention. Everything they're doing is fraud, and they call everything else is fraud. And they call everything else fraud. Yep. In California, the best medical providers do not accept Medicaid. Yikes. Nursing homes force you to sell off your assets before Medicaid will pay. Yeah, that's also true. Like the way, like, you know, it's like it's already bad enough, like the way they means test Medicaid, because you're poor, okay? Like, you're poor. We're not talking about like rich people here. You're poor, and they're forcing you to sell off your assets so that you meet the threshold. I think it's like $2,000 or something like that. What is the threshold for Medicaid? Okay, so it depends on your state. So we'll say the state of Georgia. In Georgia, the maximum monthly income for Medicaid eligibility is $2,564 or $3,468 if you're two people. That's not a lot, okay? That's like barely minimum wage. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, that's barely minimum wage. But in California, you can keep your, but when you die, the state will come after your Medicaid expenses. Oh, keep your home. But when you die, the state will come after your Medicaid expenses. Yeesh. Sounds about right. Yep. Any assets above that and you don't get it. Got it. Yeah. Okay. $2,000. So I knew that stuck out to me. But that's for nursing homes, right? Like, not just because I'm reading something about if you're just like a normal like citizen that is poor, but if you need a nursing home, then you have to have like basically no assets, right? Is that correct? Do I have that correct? Or because like I know that $2,000 is sticking out to me for some reason. That's why I said it at the beginning. I'm thinking that this $2,000 is talking about your eligibility to be in a nursing home. Because I'm pretty sure I went to class to study about this for insurance. Nursing home Medicaid. Ah. Okay. Yeah. So at least this year, as far as 2025 goes, at least in this state, you must make either under 2,900 a month, and you have assets under $2,000. So basically nothing. You probably heard 2,000 from someone talking about their own case, but it depends on state and your situation. Yeah, I think what this means is like the assets. But yeah, you can have an income of under 2,900 in the state of Georgia, but your assets have to be under 2,000. So like basically you have to have nothing, which is kind of weird because like so you get a monthly income of like what 2,900, but you have a house, right? So therefore you don't qualify for Medicaid. Phenomenal. You probably oh no, Greenery Justice. And the horrible truth is that most nursing homes are places that barely give minimum care. They also smell, and better to die in your own bed. Oof. The idea is sell your house and spend that on healthcare and then call us when you're broke. Gotcha. Oh, right, because you're going in a nursing home. So I guess, like, why would you need any assets? The idea is, okay, gotcha. They are really sad places. I've been in 2 during COVID, you're right. Oof. You know what? I think I'll keep my assets, okay? Even if I'm poor. All right, folks, we got a couple of stories to go. Birds of a feather flock together, right? Andrew Tate facing rape and trafficking charges in Romania is back in the U.S. So cool. My job is heavily dependent on Medicaid billing. If they pull a lot of this shit, I'm out of, yeah. Oof. Yikes, I'm sorry, ground level news. I used to go to sing Christmas carols with the Girl Scouts at nursing homes every year. I feel a lot of boycott seasons coming. Controversial influencer. Sure. It's one way of describing Andrew Tate. And his brother Tristan Tate have arrived in the U.S. in Florida, by the way, more than 2 years after they were arrested for Romania, including on charges of human trafficking, rape, and forming a criminal group to sexually exploit women. I'm ready to boycott shit. I have no money anyways. Cheers. Andrew Tate, 38, is a former professional kickboxer and self-described misogynist, this is true, who has racked up a massive social media following, particularly among young men and schoolboys. Yeah. To educators' alarm, he's been described as the king of toxic masculinity, true, and one of the internet's most controversial figures. No, he's just a disgusting human being. The two have been under a travel ban and spent months under house arrest in Bucharest. Since their arrest in 2022, they remain under criminal investigation in Romania, even as they are permitted to leave the country. The brothers have denied all wrongdoing. Andrew insisted Romanian authorities have no evidence. Okay. And have repeatedly invoked, quote, the Matrix, a term that the several male right-wing figures have used to decry what they see as conspiracies against them. I mean, that's literally what it is. Right? That's literally what it is. The Tate's lawyer posted on Twitter that the brothers who hold dual U.S. and UK citizenship have returned home to America. Yesterday, Romania rightly decided it didn't have the evidence needed to hold them any longer. But the investigations are still ongoing, question mark? Yeah, influencers doing a lot of heavy lifting. There's an important point. Medicaid and other government spending are not just costs, they're income. Yeah, and also, like, I think, like, people need to rephrase the way they think about how government works. Because, like, the government is supposed to spend money. Like, they're supposed to be providing services. They're not running a business, okay? Anyways, when asked about their arrival, Governor DeSantis told reporters that while the decision to rebuff their entry lies with the Trump administration, Jesus Christ, throwing Daddy Trump under the bus immediately. The state's attorney general is looking into what authority we may have to be able to deal with this. The reality is Florida is not a place where you're welcome with that type of conduct in the air. I don't know how it came to this. I mean, you need to ask your buddy Trump about this. I don't know how it came to this. We were not involved and we were not notified. Damn. Completely throwing Trump under the bus. Don't they know that The Matrix is about coming to terms with being trans? They don't. Yep, they don't. Very disappointing. I really hope Tate was going away. Red pill dudes are going to go bad crap. Yep. The Matrix is about wearing lots of leather and sunglasses at night. True. In response, McBride tweeted that the Tates are not only American citizens, but plaintiffs in a high-profile defamation suit being litigated in Palm Beach County. They sued an unidentified American woman in 2023, accusing her of giving fabricated evidence to remaining authorities. She filed a countersuit against them earlier this month. The exact circumstances of the brothers' release are unclear, though they follow reports that the Trump administration officials pressured Romania to lift the travel restriction. Andrew Tate is a vocal supporter of the president. The Tates will be free. Trump is the president, Tate posted earlier this month on Twitter. So, yeah, I mean, yeah. Where he has over 10 million followers. The good old days are back, and they will be better than ever. Oof. Romania's anti-organization crime agency, DICOT, said on Thursday in a press release that the prosecutors approved a request to modify the obligation preventing the defendants from leaving Romania. The statement did not say who made that request. So we don't know what is going on. But, I mean, like, at this point, like, they're allowed to travel. So, yeah. After landing in Florida, Tate told journalists outside the airport that Romanian prosecutors have decided that because they have no active indictment in the court, they let us go and return. They have not been. He stressed that the two have not been convicted of any crimes. We almost had Will Smith as Neo. Really? Wow. Yeah, I know, off-world colonist. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein. Enough said. So, yeah, you know, that's cool. So it's been rumored that Trump officials pressured the Romanian government, lobbied the Romanian government to let these guys, or at least put in a good word, to let these guys roam around because, you know, birds of a feather flock together. So that's nice. That's cool. Fantastic. Transgender troops will be removed from the military, the Pentagon says. So, yep, they're going to purge trans people out of the military. For no other reason, by the way, except for that they're trans. That's it. Transgender service members will be removed from the military unless they are granted a waiver, according to the memo from the Pentagon filed in court late Wednesday. The memo was released as part of a lawsuit by the LGBTQ rights group last month against President Trump's executive order barring trans people from enlisting and serving in the military and providing clarity and provides clarity on how the policy will be implementing. Reason? None. It's just that they're trans and they hate trans people. That's it. That's it. Under the trans military ban that Trump issued during his first term, trans service members who had come out prior to the ban taking effect could continue to serve openly and receive transition-related care. Those who had come after it took effect had to serve in a manner consistent with their birth, sex, and could not receive transition care. The new health care, come on, Jesus. The new policy goes further, according to the memo filed in court Wednesday. Within 30 days, the Pentagon must identify service members who have a current diagnosis or history of or exhibit symptoms. Like, what does this even mean? Consistent with, quote, gender dysphoria, which is a medical term for severe emotional distress caused by the misalignment between one's gender identity and birth of sex. Those identified by the Pentagon will be disqualified from service and must be removed from their jobs. They will receive an honorable separation unless their record reflects otherwise, according to the memo. Some trans service members can be considered for a waiver on a case-by-case basis, provided there's compelling government interest in accessing the applicant that directly supports warfighting capabilities. They must also show 36 consecutive months of stability in their sex assigned at birth without clinical distress or impairment of functioning, that they have never pursued medical transition, and that they are willing to adhere to the standards for their sex. So they want to force them to not be trans, essentially. The memo also states that the Defense Department will only recognize two sexes and that the service members must use sex-separated spaces for sleeping, changing, and bathrooms in accordance with their sex assigned at birth. So again, like, are you going to do, like, general inspections? Okay. The new policy also requires service members to use pronouns, and salutations such as sir and ma'am that align with their birth sex. Phenomenal. This is the don't ask, don't tell on steroids. Yeah, whatever. Don't join the military. Yeah, I mean, like, this is actually a perfect ad for not joining the military. The Defense Department also prohibited from using funds for transition-related care, including hormone therapy and surgeries. With all scheduled surgeries being canceled, the memo states service members can continue to receive hormone replacement therapy until they're separated from the military if a doctor recommends it. Last month, the National Center for Lesbian Rights and LGBT and GLBTQ legal advocates and defenders, the GLAD Law, filed a lawsuit on behalf of 6 active duty trans service members who and 2 trans people seeking to enlist, arguing that Trump's executive order barring their service violates the 14th Amendment Equal Protection Clause by discriminating against them based on sex and shows animosity towards transgender people because of their transgender status. 100%. You would think that, like, this is like a unconstitutional rule, but okay. Kate Cole, an Army sergeant and trans woman who is a plaintiff in the suit, in a statement on Wednesday night, said in a statement on Wednesday night that the policy would destabilize the military. But I've spent more than half my life in the Army, including combat in Afghanistan. Cole said, removing qualified transgender soldiers like me means an exodus of experienced personnel who will fill key positions and can't be easily replaced, putting the burden on our fellow soldiers left behind. Shannon Minter, legal director at NCLR, said the memo filed on Wednesday shows that the scope and severity of the ban are unprecedented. This administration has doubled down on betraying service members who have faithfully followed the rules, met the same standards as others, and put their lives on the line to serve the country. This is a complete purge of all transgender individuals from military service. And, like, that's basically it, right? Like, that's it right there. That's it. Whether the order expresses animus against trans people sparked a tense back and forth between Justice Department Attorney Jason Lynch and U.S. District Judge Anna Reyes during a preliminary hearing in the lawsuit last week. Quote, would it be fair to say that excluding a group of people from military service based on unsupported assertions that they are liars, immodest, lack integrity, are undisciplined, and are dishonorable? Would you agree with me that, particularly where there's no support for any of those assertions, that is animated by animus, which, of course, is true. Oh, hello, Kat. The Defense Department doesn't publicly report how many trans people are serving in the military, and estimates vary widely. One 2014 report by Williams Institute at UCLA, using data from 2011 National Transgender Discrimination Survey, found that about 15,000 trans people were serving in the military. A 2016 report from the RAND Corp, drawing from the Defense Department data and previous research, including Williams Institute report, found that a maximum of 10,790 trans people were serving in the military and in the reserves, but found that figure could also be as low as 2,000. So yeah, I mean, like, this is just because, like, they hate trans people and want to purge them in every facet that they can, including taking any mentions out of them. For example, in that Stonewall Memorial, eliminating them from the military because that's what they have control over. I mean, like, anywhere they can, they just want to erase trans people. Super hateful. One of the things I still appreciate about my time in the Army is how much it was a legit melting pot, right? Because, like, that's kind of like the point, right? And they're destroying that because they hate a small group of people. Yeah, and the military is already having issues recruiting. Yep. I mean, whatever. Don't join the military. Don't do it. All right, folks. Last one. Trump plans tariffs on Mexico and Canada for Tuesday while doubling existing 10% tariffs. So, yeah. Brace yourself, folks. It's coming. President Trump plans to impose the tariffs on Canada and Mexico starting Tuesday, in addition to doubling the 10% universal tariff charge on imports from China. In a Truth Social post on Thursday today, Trump said illicit drugs such as fentanyl are being smuggled into the United States at, quote, unacceptable levels. Not true. And that the import taxes would force other countries to crack down on the trafficking. It won't. We cannot allow this scourge to continue to harm the U.S., and therefore, until it stops or it's seriously limited, the proposed tariffs scheduled to go into effect in March 4th will indeed go into effect as scheduled. China will likewise be charged an additional 10%. I serve so you all don't have to. I appreciate that, bipedal. The prospect of escalating tariffs has already thrown the global economy into turmoil, with consumers expressing fear about inflation worsening and the auto sector and other domestic manufacturers suffering, and Trump raises the import taxes. But Trump has also said at times engaged in aggressive posturing only to give last-minute reprieves, previously agreeing to a 30-day suspension of the Canada-Mexico tariffs that were initially supposed to start February. So, yeah. It is unclear if these are going to be actually be implemented, but if they do, brace yourselves, folks. Yeah, buy your eggs and iPads now. Brace yourself. The threat of tariffs frightened the stock market, with the S&P 500 index falling 1.6% on Thursday. The S&P 500 is now just 1.4% higher than it was after Trump won the election, giving up almost all the gains that the president once cited as evidence for an economic revival. So yeah, we'll see if these tariffs actually go into play. I mean, like it'll literally be in a couple days, so we'll see. But if they do, brace yourself, folks. But seriously, no buy day tomorrow. Don't forget. Yeah, I'm staying home tomorrow. That's gonna be an easy dub. I'm gonna stay home tomorrow. I need a new TV, and I keep thinking, oh shit, I really need to go pick one up before everything gets worse. Yeah. You okay, kitty? The mangoes. Yep. Alright, folks. It's time for me to get out of here. Thank you all for stopping by. I appreciate it. Thank you. You guys are what makes this channel go. I appreciate it. If you want to keep supporting the channel, there are many ways of doing it. Thank you to the YouTube crew. Keep liking the stream. And subscribe on the YouTube if you haven't done so already. Spread the word, okay? Spread the word, share, and do all the YouTube things, okay? And encourage others to subscribe and join us here Monday through Thursday. If you want to support the channel directly, make sure you hit up that merch store and hit the ! tip. You can support the channel directly that way. Join the Discord this Saturday. Mouselander, hey, welcome. This Saturday, we will be watching a movie. The Wolf on Wall Street has been thrown out there, so that's a possibility. I mean, I'm down, but in any case, if you want to join us this Saturday, I did forget that February is a shorter month, so it will have to be this Saturday. Join us in the Discord for a movie day. So if you want to, go ahead. It's usually at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's usually the time. See you next week. Yep. Thank you. Appreciate it, Michael Hassler. So again, thank you all for being here. Join the Discord if you want to hang out for that movie event. Saturday, 6 p.m. Join the Substack. It's free. As always, folks. Thank you, Michael Hassler. Thank you, Heat, for modding the chat. Thank you, Mono. I appreciate it. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. If you all, I hope to see you guys in the next one, Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya! Oh, I don't think it's fair that I didn't show the cat. Nice stream, good work. Thank you. I don't think it's fair I didn't show the cat. Okay, but seriously. All right, let's do it, folks. Thanks, no problem. Dinner time, indeed. All right, folks. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.